Hi, good morning. Hope you guys had a good weekend. All right, today is Monday, April 20th, 2020. I was thinking our date today is kind of funny because it's like it has three 20s in it. Like this 20, and then when we say 2020, sometimes people say 2020. So it's like the 20 from the April 20th and then 2020. So funny, huh? I just was thinking about that. All right, and we have been in school for 147 days. And today is our last day that we're going to be doing our weather trackers. I was thinking we haven't done the Pledge of Allegiance for a long time. And I'm kind of nervous that we maybe forgot the words. Also, we're supposed to do the Pledge of Allegiance every day. So today, could you guys practice the Pledge of Allegiance with your family? I remember how we had done this before, and I bet they know the Pledge of Allegiance. And if they don't, maybe they should practice too. So you just find a flag in your house, and you're going to put your right hand on your heart, and you're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance, okay? If you don't have a flag in your house, maybe your mom could pull one up on her phone, or your dad or someone. I bet you could find a flag somehow, okay? Also, we have had a lot of people that have lost teeth. So I have 4 new people that lost teeth in April. So we had one person that lost a tooth in April, but then we got 4 more. So 1 plus 4 is 5. We've had 5 people lose teeth in April. So the people that lost teeth last week were Peyton and Ari and Zoe D and Capri. Awesome! Thank you guys for telling me so I can put it on our chart. So far, April still doesn't have as much as other months. Look how many we lost in October. We lost 15. So we're not really close to winning yet. But still, 5 teeth is awesome. Okay, today for our story, you know how we're going to finish up weather today? So we're going to finish our weather trackers today. I thought it would be perfect to read a book about weather. Now, this book that we're going to read is a fiction book. That means it's not real. This didn't ever really happen. But this book is called Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And this book is so funny. It's also a movie. Have you guys ever seen the movie Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? This is the book of it. The book came first and then the movie. So we're going to read the book today. I think it's so funny. When you're listening to this book, I want you thinking about 2 things. I want you to thinking about if it started raining food, what food would you want it to rain? And what food would you not want it to rain? Okay, just be thinking about that as we're reading. And then at the end, we'll talk about it. Okay? All right, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. All right, try to get a little bit closer so you can see. All right. We were all sitting around the big kitchen table. It was Saturday morning, pancake morning. Mom was squeezing oranges for juice. Henry and I were betting on how many pancakes we could eat. And Grandpa was doing the flipping. Whoa, my pages are stuck together. That's not good. Suddenly, seconds later, something flew through the air, headed toward the kitchen ceiling, and landed right on Henry. After we realized that the flying object was only a pancake, we all laughed, even Grandpa. Breakfast continued quite uneventfully. All the other pancakes landed in the pan, and all of them were eaten, even the one that landed on Henry. Ew. That night, touched off by the pancake incident at breakfast, Grandpa told us the best tall tale bedtime story he'd ever told. Across an ocean, over lots of huge bumpy mountains, across 3 hot deserts and 1 smaller ocean, there lay the tiny town of Chew and Swallow. So this story is a story that Grandpa was telling the kids. So it's not a real story, but he's talking about it as if it is. He is a good storyteller. Sorry, my pages are stuck together. My goodness. Okay. In most ways, it was very much like any other tiny town. It had a main street lined with stores, houses with trees, and gardens around them, a schoolhouse, about 300 people, and some assorted cats and dogs. But there were no food stores in the town of Chew and Swallow. They didn't need any. The sky supplied all the food they could possibly want. The only thing that was really different about Chew and Swallow was its weather. It came 3 times a day, at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everything that everyone ate came from the sky. Whoa, that would be so cool, huh? Whatever the weather served, that was what they ate. But it never rained rain, it never snowed snow, and it rained things like soup and juice. It snowed mashed potatoes and green peas, and sometimes the wind blew in storms of hamburgers. That would be a pretty cool looking storm, huh? The people could watch the weather report on television in the morning, and they would even hear a prediction for the next day's food. When the townspeople went outside, they carried their plates, cups, glasses, forks, spoons, knives, and napkins with them. That way, they could always be prepared for any kind of weather. If there were leftovers, there usually were, the people took them home and put them in the refrigerators in case they got hungry between meals. Or maybe in case they didn't like what it started to rain. The menu varied. By the time they woke up in the morning, breakfast was coming down. After a brief shower of orange juice, low clouds of sunny-side up eggs moved in, followed by pieces of toast, butter and jelly sprinkled down for the toast. And most of the time, it rained milk afterwards. For lunch one day, Frankfurters, already in their rolls, blew in from the northwest at about 5 miles an hour. There were mustard clouds nearby. Then the wind shifted to the east and brought in baked beans. A drizzle of soda finished off the meal. Dinner one night consisted of lamb chops, becoming heavy at times with occasional ketchup. Periods of peas and baked potatoes were followed by gradual clearing with a wonderful jello setting in the west. The sanitation department of Chew and Swallow had a rather unusual job for sanitation departments. It had to remove the food that fell on the houses and sidewalks and lawns. The workers cleaned things up after every meal and fed all the dogs and cats. Then they emptied some of it into the surrounding oceans for the fish and turtles and whales to eat. The rest of the food was put back into the earth so that the soil would be richer for the people's gardens. Life for the townspeople was delicious until the weather took a turn for the worst. Spaghetti ties up town. Do you think it'd be pretty messy to have a town that would rain food? It could get pretty icky out there, huh? Like, imagine if you had all those spaghetti noodles all over the place. One day, there was nothing but gorgonzola cheese all day long. The next day, there was only broccoli, all overcooked. And the next day, there were Brussels sprouts and peanut butter with mayonnaise. Another day, there was a pea soup fog. No one could see where they were going, and they could barely find the rest of the meal that got stuck in the fog. The food was getting larger and larger, and so were the portions. The people were getting frightened. Violent storms flew by frequently. Awful things were happening. On one Tuesday, there was a hurricane of bread and rolls all day long into the night. There were soft rolls and hard rolls, some with seeds and some without. There were white bread and rye and whole wheat toast. Most of it was larger than they had ever seen bread and rolls before. It was a terrible day. Everyone had to stay indoors. Roofs were damaged, and the sanitation department was beside itself. The mess took the workers 4 days to clean up, and the sea was full of floating rolls. To help out, the people piled up as much bread as they could in their backyards. The birds picked at it a bit, but it just stayed there and got staler and staler. There was a storm of pancakes one morning and a downpour of maple syrup that nearly flooded the town. A huge pancake covered the school. No one could get it off because of its weight, so they had to close the school. Can you imagine if they closed the school because there was a huge pancake? Oh my goodness. That would be crazy. We'd have to do school at home. That'd be kind of weird, huh? Kind of like now. Lunch one day brought 15-inch drifts of cream cheese and jelly sandwiches. Everyone ate themselves sick, and the day ended with a stomach ache. There was an awful salt and pepper wind accompanied by an even worse tomato tornado. People were sneezing themselves silly and running to avoid the tomatoes. The town was a mess. There were seeds and pulp everywhere. The sanitation department gave up. The job was too big. Everyone feared for their lives. They couldn't go outside most of the time. Many houses had been badly damaged by giant meatballs. Stores were boarded up, and there was no more school for the children. So a decision was made to abandon the town of Chew and Swallow. It was a matter of survival. Guys, this picture is so funny. I'm trying to show you. Look at this guy. What does he have on his head? A noodle! Can you imagine having a noodle stuck on your head? That's crazy. The people glued together the giant pieces of stale bread sandwich style with peanut butter, took the absolute necessities with them, and set sail on their rafts for a new land. After being afloat for a week, they finally reached a small coastal town which welcomed them. The bread had held up surprisingly well enough for them to build temporary houses for themselves out of it. The children began school again, and the adults all tried to find places for themselves in this new land. The biggest change they had to make was getting used to buying food at a supermarket. They found it odd that the food was kept on shelves, packaged in boxes, cans, and bottles. Meat that had to be cooked was kept in large refrigerators. Nothing came down from the sky except rain and snow. The clouds above their heads were not made of fried eggs. No one ever got hit by a hamburger again, and nobody dared to go back to Chew and Swallow to find out what had happened to it. They were too afraid. Henry and I were awake until the very end of Grandpa's story. I remember his good night kiss. Have you ever had your grandparents read you a story before? Or tell you a story? This grandpa's good at it. The next morning, we woke up to see snow falling out our window. We ran downstairs for breakfast and ate it a little bit faster than usual so we could go sledding with Grandpa. It's funny, but even as we were sliding down the hill, we thought we saw a giant pat of butter at the top, and we could almost smell mashed potatoes. Guys, look at this mountain. So it's really, this is snow with the sun, but does it kind of look like mashed potatoes with butter on it? Oh my goodness, it does, huh? The end. I really like that story. I think it's so funny. What if weather really did that? Okay, at the beginning of the story, I asked you a question. So what would you really like it to rain? So if it was going to rain some food, what food would you like? I really wanted to rain burritos. I love burritos. So if it rained burritos, I'd be so excited. What food would you really not want it to rain? I would not want it to rain something sticky. Like, what if it rained honey and everything got sticky and gooey in your hair and you couldn't get it out? That would be pretty gross, huh? Oh my goodness, that's so funny. I think you should tell somebody in your family about this book and about something you would want it to rain and something you wouldn't want it to rain. That book is so silly. Okay, today in school, you're going to be doing math, which is pretty easy today. You're just counting. We've done a lot of things like this, so it should be pretty quick for you. You're also going to learn about this word. This word is bee. This word is kind of funny because it kind of just sounds like you say bee. But to spell the word, you have to write an E at the end. So this is the letter B, and this is the word bee. Did you know there are two different types of bee? So this bee is the bee like, I want to be a teacher when I grow up. Can you think of a sentence that says the word bee? Maybe, can I be a pirate for Halloween? That's a sentence that has be in it. Then I want to tell you an example of something that this word is not, okay? So, bee only has one E, but there's another type of bee. There's a bee that buzzes around the sky and, sometimes stings people. That bee is like this. So, this is the sight word bee, and this is the word bee that's like the insect. Okay, they're two different words. They used to spell them differently, even though they sound the same. Kind of funny how that happens, huh? Okay, today we're also going to do science, and you guys are going to finish your weather graphs, and I'm going to make another video showing you guys how to finish your weather graphs, and that'll be the last time we have to talk about weather, okay? You can still enjoy the weather and talk about it with your parents, but that's the last time we're going to do it in class, and the last time we're going to do our weather trackers, that's like up there, and so we're going to make a graph out of them, okay? All right. I hope you guys have a good Monday. Bye.